Dom stood up as well, and then covered ahead while Jack reloaded his P90. "Let's move." They made it to the corner and then looked around. Up ahead was a single room at the end of the hall. Inside it was dark, but not for long. AK fire from 2 rifles rang out, sending showers of sparks all the way up the hall toward the 2 Americans as the bullets pinged off the stone wall. Dom and Jack tucked their heads back. "I'm thinking that looks like it could be the jail." "Yeah," agreed Ryan. Apparently, there were only 2 jailers, but they had good cover at the far end of the hallway. Plus, they held a second advantage. Jack and Dom had no idea what was on the other side of the doorway. For all they knew, if they fired up the baked brick hallway and into the room, their rounds might bounce around inside and hit the man they had come to save. "Should we go get Chavez and come back?" asked Ryan. "No time. We've got to get in there." Together they thought for a moment. Suddenly Jack said, "I got an idea. I take a 9-banger, I throw it short just outside the doorway. As soon as the first bang goes off, we run." "Into the 9-banger?" Caruso asked incredulously. "Fuck yes. We shield our eyes. They'll have to pull their heads in the room while it's going off. When we get halfway up the hall, you roll a flashbang through the doorway, and that should stun them until we get in. We'll have to time it right, but that should keep them occupied." Dom nodded. "I don't have anything better. But leave your rifle. Pistols only. We'll move better, and we don't want to hit Sam coming through the door." The 2 young men slipped out of their rifle slings and then pulled grenades from their chest pouches. Ryan drew his pistol and pulled the pin on his grenade. Dom moved next to him at the edge of the corner. He patted his cousin on the shoulder and said, "No retreat. We start moving on that position. We can't stop and turn back around. The only chance is to keep going." "Got it," Jack said, and he swung the grenade around the dark corner with a sidearm toss. After just a couple of echoing metal-on-stone planks, the first explosion and flash rocked the hall and the men at the far end of it. Dom moved ahead of Jack, sprinted into the 40-foot-long line of fire of the enemy's guns, and he rolled his flashbang far into the room like a bowling ball, right through the flashes and smoke of Jack's 9mm. Together, Caruso and Ryan ran forward with their eyes turned away from the bursts of fire. The 2 jailers had tucked their heads back inside the small room to shield them from what they thought was an under-tossed diversion. But by the time the last of the 9-bangers pops finished, and they ready to turn back to resume firing up the hallway, a small canister bounced into the room between them. They both stared at the flashbang as it went off, pounding their brains inside their skulls and dilating their blinded eyes. Jack entered the room first at a run, but he caught enough of the effects of Dom's flashbang to disorient him. He ran right past the 2 men who'd fallen to the floor on either side of the doorway, and he crashed into the metal bars of the first cell before he was able to stop on his own. "Fuck!" he shouted, half blinded and all deaf, at least for the next few seconds. But Dominic came in behind him. Jack's body had shielded him from much of the light and some of the sound, so the ex-FBI agent still had his wits about him. He shot both of the disoriented Haqqani fighters where they knelt on the floor, putting the bullet into the back of each man's head. "In here!" It was Sam. His cell door was only a few feet from Ryan, but he could barely hear him. Ryan shined his light on the cells in the room. A Pashtun man was crouched against the wall of the first cell. A sick-looking, white-skinned blonde man lay on the floor of the second cell. Ryan now shined his light into the corner. In the last cell, Sam Driscoll sat astride a dead Haqqani fighter, the man's twisted neck in the American's hands. Caruso found the overhead light and flipped it on. He stared at Sam as well. "You okay?" Sam looked away from the man he had just killed with his bare hands. The jailer who had planned